Once she had everything: a father's love, a life full of warmth. But one twist of fate was all it took to turn her world to shadows. This is a story of compassion, but also of jealousy and redemption.
Years ago, in a lively yet modest town, there lived a girl named Amara, whose life was woven with joy, simplicity, and the warmth of her father's love. Her father, Obinna, was a hard-working vulcanizer, always covered in dust and calloused from the tires he fixed day after day. Despite their poverty, he made sure Amara attended school, teaching her that knowledge was the ladder out of hardship. Amara adored her father, seeing him as both hero and guide. After each exhausting day, he'd share stories of hope, dreams of a brighter future, and remind her that resilience was her most precious gift. But tragedy struck when Obinna fell gravely ill. The money he had saved for her education was quickly spent on doctors, medicines, and prayers. Despite her desperate care, Obinna passed away, leaving Amara, then only 10 years old, alone in the world. In the aftermath, her small, loving home was taken from her. Alone and vulnerable, she roamed the streets, her innocent eyes shadowed by sorrow. Days blurred into nights as she scavenged for food and shelter, her heart aching with memories of her father's stories of a better life. One day, starving and exhausted, Amara wandered into a wealthier neighborhood. Drawn by hunger, she peeked into a trash bin outside a grand house, hoping to find anything that could fill her stomach. Just as she reached for a stale piece of bread, a woman elegantly dressed in fine clothes emerged from the house. The woman's face twisted with disgust as she saw Amara rummaging through her trash. "What do you think you're doing, you filthy girl?" she snapped, her eyes sharp and merciless. "You dare to dirty my property with your stench? You disgusting creature!" Shaken, Amara dropped the bread, her body tense with fear. She managed to stammer an apology, but the woman wouldn't hear it. With a cold smirk, the woman crushed the bread under her heel, grinding it into the dirt as she hissed, "Stay out of my sight and never touch my things again!" Just then, a voice called from the doorway, calm yet firm. "Amina, what are you doing?" The woman turned to see her husband, Namdi, watching with disapproval etched across his face. Ignoring her protest, Namdi turned to Amara, his gaze softening. "Are you hungry?" he asked gently. Amara nodded, too afraid to speak, as tears welled up in her eyes. And Namdi extended his hand and, in a kind voice, said, "Come inside. Let me get you something to eat." Amina's face darkened and she spat. "I won't have that dirty girl inside my home. You'll regret this, Namdi." Namdi ignored her, guiding Amara inside. In the dining room, he served her a warm meal, assuring her that she was safe. Amara ate quietly, savoring each bite, her heart grateful for this unexpected kindness. Amina watched from the doorway, her eyes smoldering with anger. After a few moments, Namdi received an urgent phone call and stepped out, leaving Amara alone at the table. Seizing the opportunity, Amina stormed into the room with a jug of boiling water. Without warning, she poured it over Amara, whose scream pierced the house. Namdi rushed in, horrified at the sight of Amara trembling in pain, her clothes soaked and skin blistered. Rushed to the hospital, Amara's condition stabilized, but the burns were severe. She would bear the scars forever. While doctors tended to her injuries, they discovered something even more troubling. Amara was 2 months pregnant, a result of an assault she had suffered on the streets. Namdi was overwhelmed with sorrow for the young girl, abandoned, wounded, and now facing a harsh future alone. Determined to help, he rented a small apartment for Amara and hired a compassionate caretaker, Mama Ife, to care for her and her unborn child. As days turned into weeks, Amara found a sanctuary in her new home. Though still haunted by her past, she began to heal. But in Namdi's household, Amina's rage simmered. Poisoned by jealousy, she began to suspect her husband's kindness to Amara was more than just charity. Stirred by her friend, Ifeoma, who whispered venomous thoughts into her ear, Amina convinced herself that Namdi must be the father of Amara's unborn child. The idea festered, twisting her bitterness into blind hatred. Driven by resentment, Amina found Amara's apartment and, without warning, attacked her in a fit of rage. Amara, weakened from her recent ordeal, was unable to defend herself. Hearing her cries, Mama Eve returned just in time to stop the assault, but the damage had been done. Amara was rushed to the hospital once again, her condition critical. The brutal beating had cost her the unborn child. When Namdi arrived, devastated, he knew this was the end. He returned home and without hesitation asked Amina to leave. "Your cruelty has destroyed this family," he said, his voice heavy with sorrow. "I can no longer live with the monster you've become." As Namdi rebuilt his life, Amina's own crumbled. Shunned by friends, her accounts frozen, and her reputation destroyed, she found herself alone. Her only option was to return to her family in the village, where the years of pride and scorn she had once shown were met with whispers and mockery. Back in the village, Amina struggled to find purpose in a life stripped of wealth and status. She began working with her mother, selling fried akara by the roadside, each day a reminder of the consequences of her actions. Yet, amidst the shame and regret, a faint desire for redemption grew within her. One day, a familiar figure approached the stand, a young girl, tattered and hungry, much like Amara had once been. Remembering the suffering she had caused, Amina handed the girl some food, her heart aching with guilt and remorse. In that small act of kindness, she found a glimmer of hope, the beginning of a path toward healing. Months passed, and Amina learned through whispered rumors that Namdi and Amara were preparing for a wedding. The news felt like the final blow, the ultimate retribution. But with her heart now softened by humility, Amina knew she needed to make amends. She traveled to the city, her hands trembling as she knocked on Amara's door. When Amara answered, she looked at Amina, who knelt before her, tears streaming down her face. "Amara, I am so sorry," she choked. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I let pride and anger drive me to cruelty. I have nothing left but regret." Amara stood silent, her heart torn between anger and pity. But as she looked at the broken woman before her, she saw that Amina was no longer the proud, unkind woman she had once been. After a long silence, she whispered, "Forgiveness isn't easy, but I believe you are truly sorry. Time will tell if you can change, but for now, I'll try." Overcome with relief, Amina wept, thanking Amara with all her heart. Just then, Namdi entered the room, his face calm yet thoughtful. He spoke gently. "There is no wedding, Amina, but I needed to know if you were capable of true remorse. I see now that you have changed." With that, he offered her a second chance, but with a promise that she would live with kindness and humility. Amina, humbled and grateful, vowed to honor this new beginning, dedicating herself to compassion and seeking redemption. This story teaches us that pride can destroy, but humility and kindness can restore. In life, the tables often turn, revealing that true wealth is found in love, forgiveness, and the courage to change. May we all learn to value those around us, for the hand we extend today may be the one that saves us tomorrow. Thank you for joining Jum's journey and experiencing the power of acceptance and resilience with us. If you found her story inspiring, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Stay tuned for more captivating tales ahead. Until next time, farewell.